Hello, everyone. This is Jason with Levelhead Trading. Going to talk about Bitcoin, and I'm going to add Ethereum just to keep it simple. I'm going to try to do that with my videos now and just categorize them into smaller groups so that if you're only interested in a particular area, then you don't have to watch me talk about all kinds of other things. So just jumping right into it with Bitcoin, we are on the lower edge of the trading zone on the daily chart I'm looking at here. The key level to hold is 40,150, which is this candle right here. And a while back, when I had made one of my first videos after being away from the YouTube channel for a while, I had talked about this triangle setup here, where you had the top here, and then it was lower lower daily highs, but then you had the higher daily lows in this section here. So I had noticed that before this particular daily candle had popped up. So we broke out of that slightly, and then the very next day pulled right back down and attempted to try to break the lows here, but didn't, and then pushed to the highest price in a very long time for Bitcoin, which was 49,000. So now we got pulled right back into this range. So this is really a key level, 40,150, which is right here. And again, we are on the bottom portion of that, right? Because 40,150 is less than $3,000 away, and the high is nearing $6,000 away. So we are 1/3 of the way back to the most recent highs, and only need to drop, a third more to break this low here. And that will line up with the weekly chart. So jumping over to the weekly chart, at the moment, right, if you were to hold that 40,150, then this would then turn out to be potentially a weekly bull flag, because that's this particular week right here, back of the week starting December 11th of 23. And then we had the inside bar, and as I've talked about, then we pushed out, but got pulled right back into it. So that's really the key level. It's the key level for the daily and on the weekly chart, and it lines up, right? It's lining up with this 12 period exponential moving average, right? If we were to pull back, then we would be touching that. And so we are going to potentially not resolve this for another, it could be another month. We could trade within this range for another month, even longer, possibly. But we need to get some momentum to the upside if we're going to hold that. Because if we start pushing lower and lower, there's going to be more pressure from the bears to break this level here and then begin, for the first time, weekly consolidation, which would be the break of that 40,150. The other thing, going back to the daily chart, is looking at the EMA lines. When things are going strong, you hold that 12 period, and here it gets really choppy, back and forth, almost, thinking you're going to really change this EMA line, and then you push ahead. But notice where they are right now. So if we have in the next couple of days more downward pressure, then that's going to cause the 12 period to cross under the 26 period, which are two indicators that I like to use. So I'm looking at that, and just as a matter of fact, today I had bought some additional Bitcoin when I was actually making a video, one of the first videos that I'd come back on YouTube, somewhere in this area, I think. And I bought some, well, I had bought some up in the mid 43,000s. And then during this drop here, I bought some at 42.6 and right under 42,000. So after we're starting the new daily candle based on my time, Pacific Coast time. But today I shaved a little bit off. I didn't like the way this was looking, and we during the long 3-day weekend we got down as low as 41,444, and then we held it just barely right there at 41,680. And today we got up to 43,569. So I actually sold a little bit of my more recent purchase of Bitcoin up here because I figured, well, I'm not really giving back much of my long-term hold on Bitcoin, but my more recent ones that I bought here at 43 and change and down as low as 41,900 something, I thought, well, that'd be prudent. That makes me more comfortable to watch potentially Bitcoin drop to lower lows. And so, if you want my opinion, we need to eventually get to oversold on the daily chart. So we're at 48 presently. During the weekend we got down to 42.64. So to me, it looks like we're heading down to get to oversold on Bitcoin. Now, jumping over to Ethereum, here's the daily time frame, and this is very similar to that triangle that had formed on Bitcoin a while back, where we broke to higher prices and got up to 49,000. So this is really the same thing happening with Ethereum. So Ethereum was stuck in this range prior to breaking out and getting up to here. So the high price that Ethereum reached was 27.17, and now it's in consolidation, and it's in well, not daily consolidation. It's just getting into a tighter and tighter daily range. The low on this day, which is a key daily level to hold, was 24.55. And on this day, it got near it, but it held to 24.67 and 97 cents. And then the next day it held it. And then we got up to here. So this is forming another squeeze on the daily chart, but it's on Ethereum. So that's how Ethereum looks. So Ethereum, it's holding very clearly this 12-period exponential moving average, and potentially, the daily right now is not overbought. It's very similar to what I was saying back, if anybody watched that video, the first one, I believe, maybe the second one also. It's very similar. It's not overbought at the moment on the daily chart. Currently, we're at 62, and the average is at 58, which is this line down here. But we did get up to 70 on this high of the 27.17, and then back in this area at a lower price. But we also got up into the 74 and 72 daily RSI. So this one's kind of tricky. Maybe it does the same thing as Bitcoin did. Maybe it pushes to a higher high, and then that's where it climaxes out. But I did a little math on the total move from the lows, from the very low lows of approximately, I think it was 879, got down to about 879, probably around the same time that Bitcoin dropped to 15,460. And then from that, it went up to 2717. But overall, it's still underperforming relative to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin had retraced from the high of 69 to 15. It had retraced about 62, 63%. And doing the math on Ethereum from its all-time high, which was 48.67. For some reason, I always had thought it was 4,800, just like Bitcoin was 69,000. But it actually was 48.67. So using that as the high and the most recent high of 27.17 and the low of 8.79, Ethereum has only retraced the total move back, trying to get back to that 48.67 all-time high. It hasn't retraced even 50% yet. It's somewhere around maybe 46 to 47%. So it's still underperforming relative to how much Bitcoin has retraced. But in the more recent days, it has been overperforming Bitcoin. While Bitcoin has been pulling back, Ethereum is still up near its most recent highs. So that's how the picture looks on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, Ethereum looks like this. And so, it's pretty strong on the weekly chart. But the thing that would concern me on Ethereum, I don't own any Ethereum, but notice that the Ethereum weekly chart is at a 71.9. So that is the highest that it's been. It's barely a little bit higher than this one here. And all the way back here, it was only 67. So the average is up to 63 on the weekly chart, and the actual RSI is 71.9. So generally, once you get into the 70s, that's considered overbought. That doesn't mean you can't keep going up, and you might even get into the 80s, such as what happened with Bitcoin. But I would be cautious here. This is where we are approximately on the chart going back to the last areas of resistance. So you have this cluster right here, which was from 2159 and the high all the way up to 3581, 2159. So the low of this right here, the 2159, it basically lines up with the lows pretty close to these weekly candles here, 21, 27, and 2100 exactly right here. So that is the weekly low that you need to hold in order to keep the weekly uptrend going, 2100. But again, on the daily chart, anyway, I just want to emphasize you are at 71.9 on the weekly chart. And so it's the second time it's pushed a little bit over into the 70s. And generally, as a rule of thumb, if I'm trading something and I'm generally when I want to buy something, I pick a time frame that has not gotten oversold, and then I'll buy the first oversold on that, the first time it's gotten oversold in a long time on that, whatever that particular time frame is, and vice versa. I will start selling for sure if we get anywhere near 70 and take profit and not give it all back. So this in reverse, we're now getting into the 70s for the first time in a long time on Ethereum. So if I own some, I would take profit here. I would hold on to some, but I would definitely sell a portion of it. So really, that is it in a nutshell. Looking at the weekly chart again on Bitcoin, 40,150 is what needs to hold. And we're on the lower section of this. So probabilities are more that we will break this than make a higher high. And on the daily chart, the more recent, it's, I really can't distinguish a level on the daily chart that would be really any different than that 40,150, because we're already down, fairly close, testing this one here, which is 40,625, and then over the weekend 41,444. So they're just making slightly higher lows than this low here. Notice how it's 40,150, 40,508, 40,625, and 41,444. So pretty much the daily and the weekly levels, in my opinion, are the same. You got to watch out for that 40,150 breaking. And obviously, if it does, this EMA will definitely cross over, which will be a negative sign. And then we will be in daily downtrend and weekly, looking for a weekly higher low. And I'm not going to speculate as to what that could be, but there's a lot of distance from the low to where we went to form a weekly higher low and probably a monthly higher low at some point. So anyway, that's my video based on just Ethereum and Bitcoin today. And if you want to check out my video that I made on Tesla today, you can go ahead and check that out too. So I'll make another one tomorrow and talk to you then.